Okay, and what's next for us is going to be probably a lot of stuff that you find in here. Right? There's a lot, 80, 70 years of content, 70 years of characters, places, names, faces. Okay, so in the spirit of that, we're going to give this away right now. We're going to have a little contest. All right, so here are the rules. I'm going to do this 3 times throughout this whole thing. This is just the first one. So here are the rules. Actually, we're going to start with, we're going to go, since we're talking about Fortress of Solitude, we'll give that away at the end. We're going to give away this new Krypton series here, some Superman Bottle City of Candor, and the new Krypton series 1 through 4, all hard books. All right, so here's the deal. I'm going to ask a question, a series of questions, describing a character in the DC universe. If you can guess who it is first, you get the book, okay? If you shout it out and you're wrong, you're out. So you better be sure you know, and these guys are going to be watching closely. All right? Are you guys ready to start? You get the game? You understand it? Don't speak up unless you know. Okay. Go ahead and raise your hand when you're ready to say it. I'm new to the DC universe. My people are all dead. I have anger issues. I'm the leader of my corps. Yeah, what's up?
Metropolis?
Oh, I'm sorry. My favorite color is red, yeah. No. My manners are atrocious. What is it? What?
Atrocious.
No, it's not atrocious. Yeah, that's it. All right, well, you're the closest, so you're getting this because I got no one else to go to with it. So there you go. Good job. You were close. You were close. You like Greekified it at the end there. Atrocicles.
When he said my people were dead, I was like, Black Lantern guys.
That's what I
Couldn't remember his name.
Necron.
All right, so we're just waiting on this PowerPoint presentation here, but yeah. We're going to talk about the Fortress of Solitude raids today.
What is this? You can dance for us.
Here, can you hit this pop up? What the pop up? PowerPoint.
Is it on here?
Yep. All right, let's do another one here while we're waiting. Ready? You guys ready? Yeah? Come on!
Yeah.
Giving away free stuff here! Thank you. All right.
It's a viewer or something.
I am not the first to assume this identity. I used to be a policeman. I used to hang out with a kid just like me. What's up?
Spectre?
No. I did the same. He did the same thing. My metabolism is in overdrive. Yeah. You got it, buddy. All right. There you go. All right, in the big kahuna, the DC Encyclopedia. We talk about what's next. It's all in here. Okay, you ready? I live in Metropolis. It's a lot of. Oh, really? We got some balls of people here. All right. Yours was first. So what's up?
Superman.
Oh, come on. Would it be that easy? All right. Well, technically you're not out. Don't cop to that because that was wrong. All right. Ready? I'm a genius. What? No. I have no hair. What? No. I was inspired by a super guy. What?
Steel?
You got it, buddy. Here you go. Good job. All right, the box is empty, and I still have no PowerPoint, so we're in trouble.
I want you to start dancing now.
Yeah.
Did you want to read from the book? You can
No.
Tell us about the time that you were naked with Chip Lee.
Why I told that story in my Dev War story panel is beyond me, but I did. So I guess I'll live with that forever. All right, we don't have a What's up?
Can I ask a question to kill some time?
Sure.
Okay, there's several ways you guys can do publishes or updates or all that kind of stuff. I'm used to Galaxies where you just kind of happens every so often. But then there's also EQ where they get like a yearly expansion. What kind of thing are you guys going for? Are you gonna have like a yearly expansion, or are you gonna go for the every now and then we get like some publish updates?
Right. So let me address that with the update first. So the updates themselves are going to be as regularly and frequently as we can make them.
Yeah.
And I don't want to promise you what that time frame is right now, right? Because when we start promising you a time frame, we can lose track of quality and stability and things like that. Okay, so as often as we can get these updates out. Now, updates can contain content like a new raid or a duo or an alert or something like that. They can also have some features as well, like potentially dueling or some other things that we're going to be adding to the game. Those things we're going to try and get you on as regular a cadence as we possibly can, and as frequently as we possibly can. We want people to understand that when we update the game, we're not necessarily talking about this massive content, push to it. Sometimes we will be adding stuff. We're trying to add raids regularly, as often as we can on these updates. As far as the other aspect of expansions go, can I get into this at all right now here?
No, we're
Yeah.
going to be talking about that later this week.
Yeah, we have an announcement coming Monday, and we'll be talking about some things at Comic-Con that should give you an idea of what our plans are in that direction. But we are going to be adding to the game beyond just updates, but we'll tell you a little more details about that later.
I was just wondering, it's kind of cool that every year EQ and EQ2 have a yearly, expansion thing. But then I'm kind of like a Star Wars Spoiled Galaxy person, where we get something cool every so often, and it's really just built into what we're paying. So,
Gotcha.
Either one's good. Just curious to see what wins games.
Well, we'll try and give you both. Lauren's giving me the stink eye now. No, he was smiling. I'm kidding. How are we doing here? We got it?
Ready to go.
Great! God. Okay. So what are we talking about? Into the future. My name is Jens Anderson. I'm the creative director on DC Universe Online. And
I'm Jesse Benjamin. I'm a senior game designer for DCUO.
And I'm Mark Hallich. I'm the combat design lead for DCUO.
you'll be able to see Mark on a panel tomorrow as well, talking about a lot of combat stuff. That's also at 2 o'clock. I think it's in this room. But check your schedules. But we'll see. Is it here?
I don't know.
There's an app for that.
Thank you. I've been told many times. Okay, so basically let's start going through. So what's next for us? Well, Fortress of Solitude raids. So at launch we had Condoc and the Batcave as our raids, and we then moved over to releasing a new Batcave raid with each of our updates. So we've sort of had this Brainiac storyline where he has come back. He's actually trying to take over reality, and he's doing it by attacking the nexus of technology and magic and metahumans on Earth. And the nexus of technology is the Batcave. Makes sense, right? So meta players, their origin, they follow Superman and Lex, so the next series of raids are going to be in the Fortress. This again features Brainiac here. He has failed at the Batcave, now he's trying to take over the nexus of meta in the Fortress of Solitude. He has fused with the Sunstones in the Fortress and created all new powerful units for players to take on. So the challenge, the stakes are higher, the challenge is higher, brand new space for you guys to explore. So we're going to go through what our goals were when we started this off, okay? We wanted to make sure that we had a new epic location for you guys to go see. This wasn't just another sewer or warehouse in Gotham or some Secret Star Labs or LexCorp base in Metropolis. This is what the DC Universe is all about. This is the center of Superman lore right here, right? The fortress itself. So we wanted that epic location. Also, we felt that having more iconic presence at your side throughout these raids, where we've done that in various alerts and duos and things like that, were super successful and players really responded to them well. So we wanted to up the ante there. So we increased the amount of iconic presence that you have, both as enemies and as allies as you're going through the game. Physics-based combat scenarios. There's a lot of stuff in there that has to do with new physics stuff. There's really neat that the abilities on the guys are sort of amped up on the physics side, but also have a lot of the sunstones and the crystals and things in there that you can weaponize. So there's a lot of new challenges there with the gameplay and the physics-based combat. Group challenges, teamwork. We have some decision points. If you've all played our game in Batcave 2, there's a really neat point where you have to split the party, and the party is actually responsible for sort of, this door's closed, they have to battle, unlock the door for these guys, and you start sealing yourselves in these areas until you can actually, as a team, separated from each other, work through to the end and reunite. So we wanted to incorporate more elements like that into the raids, both randomly, the NPCs kind of make things happen differently, but also by player choice that they can influence sort of how they break up their teammates and who they follow on the iconic front. And then lastly was variety of combat. We really spent a lot of time on the NPCs and making sure that we were hitting all the beats in terms of the systems and the features we had to make them really play well off the player packages. So let's get into the raids themselves, the Fortress of Solitude raids. So here you can see the first one starts out actually outside the fortress. Fortress 1, infiltrate enemy lines. You can see the fortress in the distance. Brainiac's ships are over it. They're assaulting. They're pummeling it. His units have repelled every attempt to try and get in there over land. So Superman and Lex, depending on if you're a hero or villain, hatch a plot to kind of go through these secret caverns. They're really cool too because all the collections that you can find in here really speak to the story of what's going on. Basically, all these lost LexCorp expeditions that are frozen to death trying to find entrances into the fortress itself. You find these collections and these notes from these guys, and they're like, still waiting for evac. You know, the guy, you know, he dies recording it. Arr, if you're a Monty Python fan, maybe you'll get that joke. Anyone? No? Okay, thank God. All right, so you travel through these secret tunnels. Right at the beginning, you're going to talk to Superman, or you're going to talk to Lex. You're going to see this vista of the fortress under assault. They're going to tell you the stakes that are involved right here. And then they're going to randomly choose whether or not they blast open the left passage or the right passage. It's going to be different every time. Those passages have different gameplay as you're going through as well. Different little mini-bosses that you fight, different challenges, different layout, okay? And it'll be different every time. Then when you get into, you'll meet up again. You'll fight a little boss, and then, or a big boss, sorry. And then you'll split again, and that can be random. Okay, so Fortress 1 has a lot of sort of randomness in terms of what the path that you're going to be choosing each time. The path that the iconic character is going to be choosing to go through each time. And that'll change how you have to react to it. So you're reacting to that. You're going to fight alongside Superman and Lex. Let's say you're a hero, you start out, Superman is going to say, here are the stakes. You know, you start going through the tunnels. Midway through, Lex Luthor shows up, and he's actually already fighting one of the bosses because he's got his own ideas about infiltrating the fortress. They confront each other. Now there's this unholy alliance, and you're working through with Lex and Superman all the way up to the fight with Crypto the Superdog. How many people think we're insane for putting Crypto the Superdog in the game? How many people think it's awesome that we have Crypto the Superdog in the game?
Now if you put Blippo.
I'm going to raise both my hands for that. Who?
Blippo the Superman.
Yeah, does everyone know that there are actually other super animals in the DC canon? There's a monkey, a cat, a horse, and what else? Fish? No, that's Aquaman.
Turtle.
Yeah, actually, that would work with the logo. You could paint the S on the little turtle, you know, square shell. So we have Crypto the Superdog. Here's a little, oh, wrong one, sorry. Here's a little picture of Crypto. Well, basically, this fight is really cool. Crypto is under Brainiac's control, and he's basically taking on Superman and Lex and all the players that come in the area, grabbing them with his powerful super strength bite, throwing them across the area. Brainiac has these Dominators that are coming in and taking control of Crypto, so you have to dismantle them in order to get them back on your side to take on the boss. They keep taking control of them. You keep having to free them. It's a real challenge for the players to manage 3 points of attack simultaneously, keeping Crypto under control so he doesn't kill your party members, taking down the Dominators and tanking the boss. There's a lot of tactics that are going to go on in there. Okay, so let's talk about Fortress 2. Here we have that's outside the fortress still. Some more screenshots from Fortress 1. Fortress 2. Take back the Fortress of Solitude from Brainiac. Now you're still with Lex Luthor and Superman from the start of this one. This raid is really cool. It's the first time you're going to be standing inside the fortress. You're going to see the entry hall. There's going to be the statue of Superman's parents there. Okay, it's going to be a big fight right in the beginning with a corrupted version of Jor-El's AI. You know, Jor-El, his presence is in the fortress. He talks to Superman all the time. He mentors him. Well, Brainiac has taken him over. He's created a Sunstone mech, and he's actually going to have to confront the legacy of his father, which is really neat. At one point, Lex realizes the situation is so dire that he goes to the room in the fortress with the Phantom Zone projector, and he unleashes Kryptonians that have been imprisoned there, including General Zod, Ursa, and Non. So now you're fighting alongside, because Zod, they basically say to Zod, Brainiac's taken over the fortress. Do you want the legacy of your planet to fall into the hands of this monster? And of course, Zod does not want to have that happen. So he joins Superman and Lex Luthor. Now you're fighting alongside these Kryptonian prisoners that have been trapped inside the Phantom Zone, Zod himself, and Superman and Lex. That's really cool. You battle Jor-El's AI, as I said, and then you get to defeat the Avatar of Meta. This is in the Batcave raids. You didn't defeat the Avatar of Tech until the 3rd raid. In this one, we wanted to get the Brainiac story resolved in the second raid. Okay, why? Well, because you're going to take on Zod in the third raid. Zod has betrayed Lex and Superman, of course, and he has now entrenched himself in the control room of the fortress, and you need to get him out of there. You need to put those Kryptonians back in the Phantom Zone. So you're basically taking on Zod, Ursa, Non, all the Kryptonians that have been released, and you're sending each one back to the Phantom Zone in turn until you finally force the General to come out from behind his shield, and you take him on as well. So, some pretty epic stuff going on in this raid. Here's General Zod in the front here, Non on the back right, and Ursa on the left. Now, the cool thing about what we've done with these raids is that what the fortress is made out of is this sunstone stuff. Okay, this sunstone is basically this miracle mineral, and it allows players to, or it allows the Kryptonians to shape it into anything they want: warships, weapons, like you see on Zod's hands right here. So Brainiac has fused all his units with the Sunstones, and they're super powerful. So that's what we're playing with the Sunstone stuff throughout as well. One thing I wanted to mention that I forgot to on Fortress 2, we talked about random choice or random events in Fortress 1. Fortress 2 has player chosen events, much like that Batcave 2. Okay? So at one point, Superman and Lex realize they need to split up, and it's up to players to decide who they want to follow based on what composition you have with your players and what path you want to take. And being that we have these crystal series and things, we have a lot of transparencies going on, so you can see the other group in the other tunnels and match their progress as you're going through. You can't get to them, you can't help them, but they're there. You still feel like you're kind of part of the party as you're going through. So there's a lot of really cool elements like that in the level design of the Fortress 2 raid itself. Loot and rewards. And 4 new Tier 3 Kryptonian gear sets. Yeah, new stuff to get. New Brainiac suit based on the bosses found in the raids. So we have a really cool looking Brainiac stuff that you can collect as well. And a bunch of new weapons that we're adding to the game.
What's the DPS on the new weapons?
Fortress 3, there'll be 113 DPS, give or take a few decimal points, but in between that, we're actually going to have a stepping stone between the 97.9 and the 113. So they're
Kind of like the 4-man alert steel with the 90 point. Whatever.
Yeah, it's just sort of a halfway, right? So 113 will be the best of the best, and Fortress 3 stepping stone weapon between that.
Question.
Here's the raid suits, by the way. This is the DPS suit. You can see it. What's that? No, is that the only one? We also have a tank suit, a controller suit as well, and a healer suit. And they all have different looks. So. Questions?
Those suits are all different? Looking
Yeah.
depending on the
Oh, yeah.
role?
Yep, they're totally different. The tank one is much bulkier and beefier. It doesn't have pointy sunstones coming off of it. They're very blunted. The controller guy has these really cool, like, sort of orbiting, floating crystals around him. And I think the healer is my favorite. He's cloaked and hooded, and he has really cool sunstone sort of chest pieces and things like that. It's really interesting.
On the Kryptonians coming from the Phantom Zone, is Feora in that group?
No, the named iconics that you're going to see coming out of the Phantom Zone are Ursa, Zod, and Non. Every other Kryptonian that comes out of there is sort of, thug Kryptonian prisoner banished to the Phantom Zone number 5.
She's supposed to be featured in next year's film.
Is she?
Yes, and she is like an animating Kryptonian.
All right.
Look her up.
All right. Maybe when we go to the Phantom Zone someday, we'll have something to draw on there. That's a good suggestion. Did you write that down?
What was her name? I don't remember her name.
Feora. The correct spelling is probably in the encyclopedia.
It's fine.
I'm gonna need that back, sir.
Okay, you keep it.
Feora. Yeah.
I'll spell it like it sounds and find it
It's
eventually.
Kryptonian, right?
Yeah.
All right. What other questions you guys got for us?
You're doing the rig with the well-geared group. I'm like, what's the estimated time for the whole thing?
For the entire, with a well-geared group?
For Fortress.
It's equivalent with the Batcave raids. How long are you guys taking to get through the Batcave raids right now?
32 minutes
Yeah.
for otter.
I think they're a little bigger. I think Fortress 2 is actually a little larger. They actually vary in scale. Fortress 1, the exterior, because of the large caverns, is fairly long, and the boss fights are pretty challenging in there. I think they require a lot of split tactics and things that you need to manage. Fortress 2 is the biggest of them all. you know, Fortress 1 is large, but it's large because there are a variety of ways you can go that you don't necessarily see every time. So we traded off a little bit of scope there for a little bit of variety. Fortress 2 is much larger because even though you have choices about what route you want to take, where you split the group, you get to see everything each run through. Fortress 3 actually takes place in one room. It's more of a wave event, you know, survival mode kind of thing. So that one's actually quicker if you're well geared and good.
What are the new marks gonna be called?
What's that?
The new marks that are gonna go?
I don't know.
Marks of Krypton.
Marks of Krypton.
Marks of Dead Planet.
I mean, do you have any plans for any other ways to get the marks? Like, you know, how you do with the 4-man alerts with the marks of distinction, you can get it, you know, I mean, is there,
That's a distinct possibility in the future, but not right now.
okay, so immediate, just to start, we'll only be able to get them from those rigs?
Yes.
We have questions from the internet if you want to.
Sweet. Let's field some internet questions.
All right.
The interwebs.
So will Tier 3 armor be available outside of raids?
It's not an issue.
Can they hear us?
Yeah, they can hear you
Oh,
and they
right
can
there.
see you.
Oh,
Right. There's the internet.
What else you guys got?
Can we ask questions off of rate subject?
Yes, I can't guarantee I
Another
can answer them, but you can ask whatever you want.
Something that came up in another thing was, is there going to be any possibility of, in the future, sidekicking or level enhancements if you bring friends into the game and you want to level them up a little quicker?
We don't have any plans on systems like that right now, so I don't think so. Not at this current time. Our leveling game is fairly fast. You know, I mean, we really wanted to make sure that you were taking part in some really cool storylines. You were getting a sense of the DC universe. You were traveling to a lot of different places, interacting with a lot of different iconics. And we knew that we wanted the onus of the game to be at the end. You know, that really it just sort of starts at the end. So, you know, sidekicking hasn't really been on our radar.
The majority of the XP you get when you level up is from the finishing
quest.
missions.
It's not from
So,
kills.
if you take your max level character and you level your friend through their missions, you level really fast. I've done it at power level with some DLDs before. It goes pretty quick. It slows down when you start doing the gear hunt at the end, helping them get their tokens and stuff. But if you have a full set of Tier 1 or Tier 2, you can actually get them through the duos and works pretty quickly.
It is, in fact, I mean, as of the last our last update, it's like faster than it's been before to get to gear yourself up in Tier 1 armor. So.
Once the Tier 3 armor is introduced, are you guys gonna, like you did with the PvP armor, are you gonna reduce the cost of the Tier 2 stuff? Or is that gonna stay?
Yeah, I mean, usually when you release a new tier of gear, everything sort of gets bumped down as far as you know marks go, and that will continue for us.
Right. That's essentially what this this last update we've done basically. So the Tier 1 armor is much more available. The Tier 2 armor is a little more available than it was before, and obviously the Tier 3 stuff is the new hotness that's only raid only. So.
Yeah.
So I saw that last week or 2 weeks ago they opened the market inside the game. They have 2 items. What kind of new items did you sell?
In the marketplace.
We actually hotfixed today on USPS3, so there's a bunch of new items.
Yeah, just two style items and your song Joker is not in the marketplace.
That guy's wicked.
Arkham Joker.
Bouncy balls.
Does that include the backpack with the what you got as a trinket drop? The Joker.
I'm trying to remember. I don't think Trinket. I don't think Arkham Asylum Joker has the jetpack.
I think he's a dual wielding machete with some crazy abilities. It's the balls of doom. When you play against them, and you'll see what we're talking about.
You'll see. You get trapped in the room with balls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next question.
Next question.
Yeah.
Any news on chat filters?
On chat filters?
Yeah, basically being able to turn on and off profanity filters, or even other questions people have asked, bantering back and forth with heroes and villains.
Yeah.
That's essential in comic books.
Right. Well, I mean, we have no restrictions on chat cross-fraction. You know, I mean, you're in an area and you can chat.
It's a versus chat channel.
What's that?
The versus channel.
Yeah, it's like versus.
Right, that's true. That's true. Most of our focus, we have two things we're trying to focus on, kind of in that area. You know, UI is one of our big ones, and we've been focusing a lot on like cleaning up our quest journal and things like that, making the organization of that much easier for players. You know, communication has been important to us. We are really heavy into the voice chat too. I mean, especially on the console side of things. I don't know many players that chat with text on the PS3, right? So we were really focusing a lot on that, on the Vivox, the voice chat and things like that. So we added features like push to talk on the PS3, so you know that you could actually not have the mouth breathing going on as you were playing the game, or hear every hit effect they had going on too. So we've been adding things like that and working on the voice area of communication. And as far as our UI goes, we've been focusing more on sort of organizational stuff within the journal. But you know, we want to improve. We want to improve the game across the board. So, you know, if you guys are finding chat lacking, obviously, we'll look into that.
Will there be new features for PvP, like 1-on-1 or 2 versus 2?
Well, we are adding dueling to the game. So we certainly have some one-on-one stuff that will be a lot more regulated now. And obviously, it's cool because you'll be able to fight your friends, you know. You can do that. Do it.
We have a new PvP map coming out the next update, deathmatch map. So those of you like Quake style, this is going to be a lot like that. It's pure mayhem, so much fun.
Update 4 has a Fortress of Solitude deathmatch map that is going to rock. So what we have going on in here is it's a really cool map. It's really contained. Okay, so a lot of our PvP maps in the past have been really large. All right, so we wanted to make sure that the action, especially for deathmatch, you know, had a lot of you were running into people around these corners. So it's a 2-tier map. Okay, the bottom chamber is fairly open, and there's a lot of different ways and ramps to get down to the bottom area. In the central chamber, there's this massive power-up that basically gives you quad damage and invulnerability. It randomly spawns in there. If you go in after it and you don't get out quick enough, the doors will close on the power chamber and you will get nuked. So, you know, be careful and enter there at your own peril. In the top area, there's a lot of different tunnels and passageways that you would normally see in like deathmatch for a shooter, old school kind of shooter like Quake or something like that, right? We just went back to basics with this and it worked out great for us. There's a lot of power-ups up there. Randomly, it'll spawn a quad damage, or it'll spawn, you know, like a damage buff, or it'll spawn a defense buff, or it'll spawn a multi one, the really rare one. So players are running around up top, fighting each other over these power-ups, dropping down into the center area, which is a lot more open, and having these huge battles. We have a lot of physics objects that are in there, these special explosive sunstone crystals that are game changers too. So you'll see people fighting, one of those will spawn over to your left, you'll see that guy dodge roll over, pick it up, you know, smashing on somebody, dead. It's really cool. It's awesome when you see multiple people trying to go for it, and then everybody sort of backs off, not wanting to be near the guy who actually did pick it up. So there's a lot of fun stuff going on in that PvP map. I think you guys are going to love it, especially that back row there, and you, because you love PvP.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Are you guys planning on implementing anything about like league standings, kill death ratio, things that, you know, for PvP to, you know, so people can recognize who the most outstanding, you know, players are on the game?
Yeah, I think truthfully we've left something on the table there, and that's an area we are definitely going to explore. I know it's not in Update 4, I can tell you right now, but it is something that we need. We need ladders, we need, you know, stats like that. We need to be able to judge our accomplishments against the rest of the community. It's really important. The players have been asking for it, and we'll get there.
And also, like league challenges and stuff like that. Whenever you have a rival league and you want to constantly challenge them, and they want to challenge you, to be able to queue up against them consistently and not have to worry about getting random heroes and your AV8s or whatever you guys.
So like a sort of setting some parameters of exclusivity for getting into a certain instance. That's a great idea, and I didn't consider that. And actually, they're doing that in Spiral Nets does that really well. They let you actually pug it or exclusively say friends only or no one if you want to. So yeah, that's something we can explore. I think that's a great idea.
Anything new with the vault?
Well, we're selling vault tickets in the marketplace right now.
Yeah, I'm saying more like styles that drop or different settings.
Yeah, we've heard that you know, people are dissatisfied with like the frequency of the drops in there, that they're sort of getting the same things over and over and over again. And the vaults are really fun. You know, you can just kind of jump in there, try and get all those presents broken, get your drop, get out. So we need to do a better job of making that, I think, the reward loop in that a little more enticing. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that as far as items go, or?
Not offhand. But it is something we're aware of, and it's something we're definitely looking for feedback on.
What about for those of us that have finished our collections? Are there going to be more collections that are going to be spread out?
Yeah. Every update, every piece of so when we do updates and we talk about content, you might hear somebody say content for an update. Content in an update means a lot of different things. I personally use it for talking about specific maps and things like that, but actually content can mean a system, it can mean really a lot of different things. Items that we're adding to the game, whatever. In this particular case, whenever we add a new map to the game, right, an alert, a raid, or whatever, it always has the green and blue collections associated with it. So you're going to be getting those every time you get a new piece of, a new combat alert or a raid.
But the yellow ones, sorry. The yellow collections.
Oh, the gold ones, like off in the real world, the investigations you're talking about.
Yeah,
the yellow, the gold.
Yeah.
Where are those collections?
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why we can't add this stuff. We have been adding it.
Yeah, I don't believe we've been
We
adding
do
new
less
gold.
gold though.
Less golds than we do the greens and the blues, but that's a
The
good
styles, for the styles.
Yeah, for the style stuff. That's a good point.
Because that's money.
Yeah.
That's another whole game within the game.
Besides PvP and raiding, are there any plans in Update 4, Update 5 to add more solo content for people who prefer to play with either, just by themselves or with a duo?
Yeah, so we at launch we had added challenge modes where we basically up-leveled the episodic boss fight content, and we did that so solo people could have something to do. It's a really tough thing in an MMO when you're trying to balance those people who want to play in the groups and those people who want to play solo. And when you've done a significant amount of instancing in the end game like we have, the solo stuff gets kind of dicey because you really, you do it while you're waiting for a queue. Now you've been in this thing and you don't want to leave it because you're almost done, you miss your queue, there's all these issues going on there. We need to get people back in the open world for that kind of solo play because we want to make sure that even though you want to play solo, you're not by yourself, right? You're not alone or isolated from the rest of the community because then the game loses a lot of its charm, which is lots of people getting together. You wouldn't have Fight Club if everything was instanced, right? So we're looking at a lot of different options right now, and we will eventually settle on one fairly soon in terms of how we're going to get that sort of solo open world loop back into Gotham and Metropolis. Or, I don't want to say it's necessarily going to be Gotham and Metropolis, there might be some other areas we explore there. But yeah, we're definitely thinking about it, but we're thinking about it more in terms of open world content. We did our first few updates and we were adding duos to the game. We had the raids in the cans, we were putting out those extra Batcave raids, but everything else was a duo that we were putting out. And, it really wasn't supported. They're great, I love them, and we will add more of those in the future, but we've done a lot of work putting things in that sort of instance bucket. And the solo one has to support lots of people and not isolate people. So we'll get people back into the open world doing that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Have you guys considered I'm in a guild where we just play basically usually just 4 of us, so we do alerts and duos. And a lot of the duos are just the same thing. It's the same thing every day over and over and over,
right.
and over again. Have you contemplated taking a duo and just making variations upon it so that at least it's something different?
Actually, Jesse, one of our goals in the beginning we talked about was adding that variety, right? Mm-hmm. Adding that, replayability. In the last update we did, we had the Rayshot Ghoul fight. You want to talk about how we got some sort of player choice and...
So the Rayshot Ghoul, the very first room you go into, you have the 4
hands of the claws of the
demon. And depending on which ones you knock out, you have to knock out 2. There's the 2 that then it determines the 2 you fight by themselves throughout the dungeon. And it also determines the 2 you fight with the boss. So you can actually make it an easier way for yourselves. You can make it the hard way. I've seen a lot of people in the forum say, real men do it this way, and all that. So that's the kind of thing we want to do going forward with those.
Ace Chemicals is probably my favorite favorite example of that
Well,
because
as long as you take the patrolman out so they don't set
Yes.
you on fire immediately, then it would be.
Rough.
I hear you on that one. But as far as like, you know, you don't know which wing you're going to be going down each time, and even when you get to the end of the wing, you don't know which boss you're going to face. There's some surprise there now as you're going through the stuff. And to me, that and the Ra's al Ghul stuff that we did, we tried it a little bit with Two-Face. You know, you don't necessarily know which, you know, channel you're going to be going in, and because you went down the left tunnel and fought Hush, then it's going to be Bane in the boss fight, and because you went to the right tunnel and fought Bane, it's going to be Hush in the boss fight, and that sort of changes things. And, you know, I think we're still trying to keep moving in that direction with our content so that it isn't like playing the ISIS duo every single time, right? There's something different in there. There's some kind of surprise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have plans to come out with another world, like Metropolis and Gotham, maybe like Bizarro World or?
Oh,
Coast City.
Dude, I pitched Bizarro World. Did you read that Action Comics run with Bizarro World, Jeff Johns? You need to go find it. Everybody needs to go find it. It's brilliant. They have Bizarro Justice League, and it is hilarious. So yeah, go read that. That's really fun. Bizarro World would be really cool. You know, I can't talk about too much about that kind of content update right now because we've got some announcements coming up that will cover that. But yeah, I can't really get into that one right now. We want to add the right stuff that the players want in the game. Right now, we'll probably start unbottling things in Metropolis and Gotham before we actually start building a new entire city or something like that. You know, but I can't go further than that right now because I have a gag order on me by this lady over here. Man. It's true.
Ouch.
It's true.
And those cities are huge too. They take a long time to make. If you ever,
They really
you ever
do.
get curious how big they are, try and move the boat off and just walk, and just try walking through that city. It'll take a while.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You guys could have like in the open world, like a section, you're gonna do something like, if you do something, certain models will go away or something.
Yeah, like the Daily Planet has a bottle on it. I think the entire it's the part of the south of Gotham is like bottled. You know, the whole thing is bottled. So we have some great stuff that players really like that open world PvP in Metropolis with the lanterns that gets called out. You know, we want to do some stuff like that with those bottled areas too. You know, some really cool end-game loop content that's out in the open world. Fill those areas up that are bottled by Brainiac and open them up to the public.
Like league banks or anything like that. Will we see any like enhancement to league features anytime soon?
Lauren, you want to feel that one in terms of like the system stuff for leagues and things, our plans there? I mean, obviously, all these questions you guys are asking are things that we would love to add to the game. It's just a question of priorities.
Yeah, I mean, the features that folks bring up that seem to be, that players feel they're high values, they'll get into the game. I mean, that's an MMO. Right now, we're currently not working on any new league features, but I know that we have a lot of ideas and we've seen a lot of suggestions about what you want to see next, and that's what we'll get into our updates. It's right now. I think the focus is on some other parts of the UI and other parts of that will be releasing those features, new features in update 4 and beyond. But league stuff, obviously players really love the league stuff, and we will continue to add features. So suggest them, post them in the forums.
We'll get them on the list.
We'll get them on the list, and we'll add them in the game. It's your game. We'll add things that will add value for you.
Yeah, I mean, people have been coming up to us all, this whole fanfare. Actually, Radar X has been watching stuff in the forums. You can see Mark writing stuff down, Jesse's writing stuff down. We love these suggestions. It's just a question of priorities, because we do have a certain production capacity that we can put output with our team size, and we can't get everything done at once. But these are all great suggestions, and it's your game, guys. So we want to do what the most people want in the game right now. Yeah.
I think it's maybe one of your favorite topics, but where's Lobo?
Ha! Oh, funny. So, was anyone in the Dev War Story panel this year? All right. So, were you? All right. So, I had a war with our lead character artist about Lobo. He really wanted Lobo in the game, and I put Aquaman in the game, and I think he was a little bitter at that decision. And I was building the Aquaman fight, and I came in one day, and somebody had replaced the Aquaman, the human animation set, with a bird animation set. And so Aquaman was starting to walk around the room. He'd curl up his little aqua feet under his aqua butt and start flapping his arms, moving around. This guy was just trying to make him look as silly and ridiculous as possible because I didn't put Lobo in the game. But you know, we started with Earth as a focus at launch, and guys like Lobo are pretty, you know, galactic centered. They're out there in the cosmos. So once we start taking steps off of Earth, out into the solar system, out into the galaxy, and out into the universe. We are DC Universe Online after all, right? We'll be getting to characters like that have more cosmic origins.
Does that mean there's a possibility of either Legion superheroes or Legion, either one of those?
You know, that's like 31st century stuff. So, you know, there was a Lightning Saga story that came out recently where they came back in time. So I think that would be more in line with what we do if we went that route. But, you know, we have so many you know, current timeline characters that we have not gotten to yet that I think, you know, as beloved as the Legion is, I think that's a little farther off for us. I would start rather exploring some other things that are in our time zone, so to speak. Yeah.
The curveball that DC is now going to be throwing, is that going to have an effect?
No, it's not going to have an effect on us at all.
No,
we are our own canon. We have, dare I say, our own Earth, right? I mean, we are, you know, DC Universe Online version of the DC Universe, and we made that choice because of a lot of different reasons. When you start out, when we launched, Batman wasn't Bruce Wayne; it was Dick Grayson. Bruce Wayne's lost in space and time, but if we had, you know, Dick Grayson as Batman, people would have been like, "What the f, you know, is going on here?" So we had to not be canonical at that point. We're taking the perfect slice that we think is the most accessible, memorable, and you know, impressionable version of the DC universe, and we take that and we kind of put it together. So we're picking and choosing different, you know, different sort of states of these characters. And Flashpoint is really cool, but if we rebooted as often as DC reboots, that'd be a little crazy. I don't think we can keep up with that.
The best example I can think of in your case is the Fortress Solitude. How many versions of it are there throughout the history of the comics?
Really, there's two that I can think of. You know, well, there's three, but you know, you have your fortress kind of up in the Arctic, and then at one point it got moved down to South America, and it has kind of an Aztec temple feel with accents of crystals. It was very different. And then you go Grant Morrison, and Frank Quitely's version is very like sci-fi spaceship interior. You know, ours is a little more Richard Donner. It's a little more, you know, kind of, I think that's exactly what I'm saying, right? It's not what they have in the comic necessarily.
For non-comic book readers to get into it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's how we base our decisions, by the way. You know, it's not to maintain the perfect, accurate version, updated of this character, this storyline.
That's funny you talk about DC Comics.
We wanted to make sure that, you know, you guys were getting the coolest stuff that we could think of that fit our gameplay too, you know, and how you interact with the universe in our game, not as a reader. It's very different. Yeah.
Just a point, as he had asked about the chat filter, is Dick Grayson is not allowed to be sad.
Well, you know why? Because you can't reveal his secret identity. So we have to filter that out. Try typing in Bruce; it does the same thing.
I got one more.
Yeah.
Marks of victory. Are we ever going to get those back, or are those just gone with the wind?
They're more or less. They're more or less deprecated.
Are you gonna miss them?
It's kind of aggravating. I'm well into my, you know, my tank suit. You know what I'm saying? So if I were to have those back, I'd be able to, you know what I'm saying, start on another iconic suit, or for the PvP. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you mean as far as buying your PvP gear?
Yeah.
So what's going to happen with that is we're going to have basically a way for you to convert those into a faction, and then by the same token use faction to purchase the new marks. So basically, the they won't be worthless. Let's put it that way. And as far as the current Epic PvP gear, you'll be able to purchase with just faction. So that whole thing, just in the same way that we sort of slid down the PvE gear by making the Tier 1 armor more accessible and Tier 2 armor more accessible as we introduced the new top level raid gear. We're doing the same thing with PvP gear. So the current Epic PvP gear will be purchasable with faction. They'll be really accessible for people who are interested in PvPing. And then the new set of PvP gear will cost a new badge, and same thing with the new PvP weapons we talked about a little earlier today.
Awesome.
So you'll still be able to get it. It'll be easier than before.
I have a comment. I think you should let the players know that the prices for the PvP gear will be coming down, like last update.
That we just did.
It's on the web right now.
The day before, I had 120, and then the chess piece went down to 85. So
Yeah, that happened with me in my house too. I feel you, buddy. At least yours were virtual. What's up? Any other questions? No?
Anything from the web?
Anything from the interwebs?
Sure. How about a Wonder Woman related raid or alert?
That is an amazing idea. And let me just put it this way. So we have a series of mentors in the game, and they can really be put into 3 buckets: technology, magic, and metahuman. And Batman and Joker are technology guys. Superman and Lex are our metahuman guys. And Wonder Woman and Circe are our magic guys. So obviously we have done a raid in the Batcave, and we have done a raid in the Fortress now, which we're releasing soon. So we're going to have to wrap all that up full circle eventually, and I'll just leave it at that.
And they were asking about the test server.
Oh yeah, we're going to make a test server. It's going to be awesome. Lauren?
So
Come on up, buddy. I got
fun questions, and I just.
Well, yeah, that's what.
Yeah. No, so we finished a test today that did fix the issue with that we were having with the guilds. Problem is last time we threw something out there when all of us were out of town, it didn't work well. So we're gonna wait until we get back to the office on Monday before we open the test server, so that we can do that. But it is very close right now.
Yeah. We're going to have a place to put our new stuff, let people interact with it, load test it,
Yeah, and honestly, the mega server is just the first part of this. As soon as we get that all working and get that out there live, update 4 will go out there before launch, so that we can make sure that we get a chance to really look at balance issues, find any load-related bugs, things like that. So it's not just a test server coming up for the mega servers, but this will be part of our process going forward that we get a chance. And we're working hard on the details of how to make that work for PS3 as well, so we can be a PS3 test server.
Is there a timeline on the mega servers yet?
Honestly, the technology is actually already in live. We did not switch it on because we wanted to get the test server out there, do a run there.
Why? What could go wrong?
Yeah, these are your characters. These are your guilds. This is your stuff. The last thing we want to do is mess with that. So we are being a little conservative on this, just so we don't have an OHAC moment where things go wrong and lose something through it out. So our belief is that we can get through this test process in a week or less, just to make sure that everything's running. Because as I said, most of the tech's been running that live for weeks now, just not switched on. So once the test server's up and we've got enough folks on there that we feel like we run it through its paces, we'll be throwing a bunch of what we call headless clients, which are really just fake players. Going for thousands of those at the test servers to make sure that everyone phases correctly and everything. So my hope is that test server, mega server stuff will only be tested about a week or 2. So once we get up there, so as soon as possible, without taking any risk with the stuff that we worked so hard to build the game and not to make any mistakes. Mistakes cost. there's the valuable.
Yeah.
On the subject of the test server, is it going to be more of a, okay, it's up, free-form test, whatever, or is it going to be more of a, it's up, here's what we're working on, that's the only thing you guys can run through, test away just on it, more like a guided test to get you specific feedback, just on stuff?
That's a good question.
Sometimes we'll say, you know, hey, this is something we really want you to hammer on, but you know, there's so many things that are connected in the game that we learn the most when folks do very organic. It's how to play the game, so that we learn all aspects of it. I find if you just tell people to do one thing specifically, you'll miss all these.
I don't think you necessarily have to tell them, and they're going to gravitate to the new stuff because they want to see it first anyway. So it's just a natural tendency. But restricting, as Lauren said, is dangerous because it gives you a false impression of like the actual flow through that a player would get, and you can have snafus that you don't even see because you do that. So it's smarter to just let them do it organically and either ask them or you hopefully won't have to because they're like, well, I'm going here to. Not because I want to play this stuff and find bugs. You know, I want to see what the new stuff's all about. And while I'm doing that, I find bugs, right? So, yeah. Anyone else? Any interwebs? We got a few minutes left. Just shout them out if you got them.
PS3 recording and screen capture.
We had some tech that was.
It's in there.
Yeah, some screenshot tech that was made by the Russians.
No.
Oh, not that one?
Just taking screenshots. I believe that's coming soon.
Okay.
Just PS3. I know we did some testing on it. I believe we even talked about it on the forum one day.
Okay. They can do it now?
Just a screenshot. You know,
Mark, they can do it now or?
It'll be coming with the next update.
Next update. So update 4, you're gonna be able to do that. There you go.
And max level increase or
Not
power
at this
sets?
time. Not at this time. We have some announcements coming out on some exciting stuff soon, but a level cap isn't getting increased at this time.
So what's the context of Monday's announcement? Can you give us anything on that?
No. How could I do that? And I would have told you already. No, I can't. I wish I could.
It's game related.
Yeah.
And it's DC related. And it'll be something that PC and PS3 can do.
Can you point to a
At the same time.
It's like, oh, yeah, start flipping through the pages of the encyclopedia. I'll point to it. Yeah, no, I can't. I wish I could. You guys will find out really soon. We have some a really cool announcement coming up that's going to be great for the game. Yeah.
When can I get my Black Adam hoodie?
Yeah, you asked me that earlier. I don't know, when people stop buying the ever popular Aquaman hoodie, maybe we'll put the Black Adam hoodie in there. You know, but supply and demand, man. Everyone's beating down the door for the Aquaman hoodie.
No, not.
Obviously, my information is wrong. No, Black Adam is one of my favorite characters. I think he's tremendously cool, and actually, I think he's what makes Captain Marvel cool is the fact that they have that guy there. How he ties into Hawkman and that history, it's great stuff. It's one of the reasons we put Kondak in the game. You know, he's just such a cool character, and he was featured heavily throughout the Faust storyline too. I love him personally, so you know, I think his raid suit looks really cool too, and you know, I'd love to see stuff like that. The hoodies and things, and those extra things are things that, you know, post it, start seeing what people want for their hoodies, and we'll give it to them. I mean, we've already got the model. We just need to do the textures on it, get the approval from DC, and we're good to go. So, but you already have one.
No, not on one game.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just real quick question on that topic. I think this has come up a long time ago. Is there going to be any way to save outfit styles and be able to switch quickly?
That is a really good question, and we should definitely put that on the list. I think we should be able to preset outfits and things like that.
Yeah.
Again, it's a question of priorities, and when we get to something like that, based on, you know, fixing something in the UI versus adding that, obviously we're going to fix something in the UI first. But those are things that would be awesome to have, because I think that, you know, one of the things that we did that was tremendous with this game is that we, you know, really we really let the players have a lot of freedom when they wanted to choose form and function. We didn't link them together in that, you know, you weren't saddled with a certain look because you wanted a certain performance, and it's liberating for people. And it's also not just a fashion show where our items are nothing. You know, getting that item gets you the appearance that you want, but you don't have to necessarily stick with it. You know, it's something we want to explore too. Yeah.
Are
Oh,
you guys-
actually, I'm sorry. She had her hand up.
Yeah, the thing I like about SOE is, especially with EQ and EQ2, because it's their own license, they can do whatever they want. But they a couple years ago, they did this poster thing where you could take your tune or get a bunch of friends and do a screen paint, and you send it into some SOE site, and they send you a poster back for, I don't know, $20 or whatever. I don't know what y'all's license is, and I know with Galaxies that wasn't possible. But I didn't know if you had a license where we could do that.
Talking about print on demand
Yes.
from inside the game. You know, we wanted to actually have it here at Faire and have DCO be part of it, but we just couldn't make it happen. It's something that I'm talking to the guys about doing for DC. There is a different process than EQ and EQ2 because this is a license, but we want to do it. We know the fans would love it. I really wanted to have it here, but it just didn't work. We were going to have those guys at a booth and let people do it. But so we'll keep working on it, and I'm glad you brought it up because it's good to know that people are interested in it.
It's worthwhile.
In the meantime, we have a green screen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can lay out on
Well,
the sawhorse.
some other things though too is I know like the card games and things like that. I know this is probably several years out. I don't know if the license allows you guys to do. Like I said, Sony has all these cool little things that they can do along with EQ because it's their own little license thing. But we all like little things that we can like keep. It's memento, short of me going home and do my own print screen little book of this is what I did in this game. You know. Yeah.
You know, it's working with licensed properties it's tremendous rewards. You know, people are familiar with your characters. They're familiar with your universe. There's already an installed fan base. You know, but there are challenges with it too because you're not dealing with your own IP. You know, it's somebody else's brand, and you have to be respectful of it, and you also have to be respectful of how you handle that brand because they have an installed fan base. And, you know, there's a reason they have an installed fan base because it's good. The people like the brand. So you need to be true to it and you need to respect it and work within that to find all the cool stuff that you can do. But like I said, you know, it does you know, it does require extra communication and coordination. But DC has been a tremendous partner to us, and you know, they want to see the fans as happy as we want to see the fans as well with their game, because it's a wonderful opportunity for people to explore their universe in a way that no one has been able to do before. You know, everything can be in here at once. We have characters that have never ever appeared in mainstream media before popping up in our game. They love it because it's, if nothing else, it's exposing the depth of their license to people. So, you know, they've been great partners, and we look forward to, you know, trying to get stuff like that into your hands.
Yeah, do what you can, because I know each one of us would love to have our own comic, and we won't ever be able to pull that off. But if you can get like a really kick-ass picture of you and your group and maybe some child across the top that you can post above your computer,
sure,
that rocks.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we can do comic book creator, but definitely the print on demand is it's on, you know, it's on the agenda.
It's worthwhile.
Yeah.
I think we have time for like one last question. Then I have an announcement before everybody takes off. Yeah.
Movement and power and respect chambers. You guys ever think about putting those in there?
Yes, we have.
Yeah, I mean,
we have indeed thought quite a bit about that.
Yeah.
And is it a no?
It's not a no, but I can't confirm or deny that it's.
No longer confirm or deny such system exists, but it is a great idea. Yeah. Okay, so thank you all so much for coming to the panel, but even more so for supporting our game. You know, DC Universe Online has just hit the scene, and it's going to be around for years to come, and it's going to be growing with your feedback, and you guys are the ones that are going to keep it alive. So thank you so much for coming to our panel and for supporting us, and all you guys that are watching on the web too, and throwing your questions out there. We really appreciate it. Stand up, sir. Yes, we have Mr. Vivox back here, and guess what he has?
Brought headsets for everybody in the group, so stop on your way out and grab one, grab two.
So interwebs people, next year you should be here in that seat that your camera is on right now, because then you'd have some free headsets. Wait, one second, everybody. Hold on, what?
We should mention that also DCUO will be back at Comic-Con in San Diego. It opens July 21st this year, and we'll once again have cool stuff to see and do. But probably one of the most fun parts has always been our annual fan event that we have there. And I know some people from here have come to that. So we'll be having a fan event. We'll have Jim Lee with us again, and it'll be on that Saturday night. We'll have our secret word of the day up on Facebook and Twitter.
Missy Spittle.
VIP passage into that fan event. And we'll send out an email next week just to let everyone know officially. But if you have plans to go or you live in the area, try to come by and visit us. We're at the SOE booth, and I think it's like 4436. So, you know, do come by or tell your friends if you know other people that are going. We'll have lots of cool stuff.
Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you out on the floor.